Welcome back to All Rounders. So guys, in this video, we'll be telling you about the object-oriented programming using Python. So let's begin. Overview of OOPS. Programming languages are classified into various paradigms like procedural, object-oriented, imperative, etc. Programming paradigms are nothing but a way to classify a programming language based on their features. One language can be classified into multiple paradigms. So basically in Python, you can do imperative programming, procedural programming, functional programming that we have already taught you, and now object-oriented programming, which comprises of objects and classes. Let's move on. So OOP is a way of computer programming using the ideas of objects to represent data and methods. Basically, there are two important terms in the OOP, which are class. Classes are the blueprints of the objects. You can think of the class as a general idea of a category of an object. And objects are made from the classes. Classes also have the data and functions in it. So basically, guys, objects are the instance of classes and classes are the blueprints. And if you look into the real world, we can classify each element into classes and objects. Like if you see, animal is a class and dogs and cats are objects. Similarly, car is a class and different types of cars like Innova, BMW are the objects. So that was so simple. Let's move on. Essential features of object-oriented programming. So guys, there are total four essential features of OOPS, which are data encapsulation, inheritance, overriding, and polymorphism. Now over to Bhupendra.
So guys, here are the essential features of the OOPS. First of all, we have the data encapsulation. So it is the feature that binds together the data and functions that manipulate the data. This keeps both the data and classes or objects safe from the outside interference and misuse, so that no other user can extract your data from the system. Uh, we protect the data by using the data encapsulation, and that data is only visible to the user which is currently using that function or classes and objects. Second, we have the inheritance. So it is the feature that lets you create a new class from an existing class. It is also possible to design a new class based upon more than one existing classes. This feature is known as the multiple inheritance. In the inheritance, I mean that suppose you have a class, and in the second you create a second class which extracts the features of the first class. That first class is known as the parent class, and the class that extracts the feature and the methods or functions from the parent class is known as the base class or the child class. Now we have the overriding. With the inheritance, you create a child class from the parent class. Overriding is a feature which lets you redefine a parent class method. Like the name suggests, you can override a parent class function or a method in the child class. Then we have the polymorphism. In the object-oriented programming, when each child class provides its own implementation of an abstract function in the parent class, it is known as the polymorphism. Next, we have the declaration of the classes and objects. So here we create a class. You can do it by typing the keyword class followed by a name for the class and then a colon. Like in the syntax, you can see that first of all we have written a class keyword. Then we are actually when declaring class, we are not using the parenthesis to write the name of the class. Here we have just used the parenthesis so that you can classify that class name of the class is different. Class is the keyword and name of the class is the class which the user gives when he writes a program. Then after that we have assign a colon sign. So this is the general syntax of a class. Now for creating an object, we create the object at the runtime. So syntax of creating the object is that first of all we write the object name and then equals to sign, then the class name and we use the round brackets. Then after that, if we want to call a function from the class, then we write the object name of the class, then use the dot operation, then we write the function. So this is all about the declaration of the classes and objects. Let's move on. Now guys, we have the init method. If the user wants to give the values whatever it wants by creating an object each time, for that purpose we use the init method. uh, Suppose the init method is invoked every time an object is created from a class and is called a constructor. Its job is to initialize the attribute of the object. Then we have the getter and setter methods.
So guys, over here, we'll be telling you about getter and setter methods. Getter and setter methods are used to control the change of a variable. So first we're defining a class car, and over here there's a syntax mistake. We can't start the keyword class with capital letter C, it's always small. Then inside the class car, we are first defining the constructor by writing def, then the init function, and inside the init function there are two parameters, self and a formal parameter a is equal to 40, which is default, and self is used with every function that we are defining in the class because self parameter points to the current object. So this is mandatory in Python. After that, inside the constructor, we are writing self.speed is equal to a. So basically, speed is a member variable of the class, and we are assigning the value a to it inside the constructor. Then the get method, that is get speed. Inside the get speed self parameter, and we are returning the speed variable self.speed by writing return self.speed. Then the setter method set speed, and inside that function also the parameter is self, only one parameter. And over here we are actually defining the value of that variable speed by writing self.speed is equal to a, and we are returning. So we use the get speed method to find the value of the speed variable. This is called getter method. Then we have set method, which is used to change the values of speed variable of an object. This is called the setter method. So that was all about getter and setter methods. But guys, at last, I would like to mention that there's an important concept, polymorphism, in OOPS. And in polymorphism, there are two types: runtime polymorphism and compile time polymorphism. In compile time polymorphism, there are two concepts, sub-concepts, that is operator overloading and method overloading. In Python, we can't do method overloading, but we are able to do operator overloading using matching methods that we'll be telling you in further videos. And in runtime polymorphism, we are doing method overriding. That is under inheritance. So that was all about this video. Stay tuned, guys.